Everybody, and welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for round number 16 around the circuit of the Americas. My name is Jacob, taking you guys through this for this evening. It is just myself for this evening, and unfortunately RJ isn't going to be able to be back in time to be able to cover Division 3 with myself. So it is just me. As I say, this will be my final commentary for this evening, and final commentary for this season, shall I say. Maybe thinking about next season. We'll have to see. But yeah, until then, I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts anyway. As I say, with my final one for this season. Not here for the next two races, so hopefully RJ is, and then you guys will have some coverage, because as I say, this championship fight is heating up extremely. I mean, having a look at the championship standings at the moment, YHYY is still in the lead of that championship by a mere 25 points ahead of Farrell. According to CamK, if YHYY beats Farrell by 28 points, he can actually win the title this evening, which I don't know if that's about right. If it's 28 points for 25, that's 53 points. That is true, actually. It is. So if YHY beats Farrell by 28 points, and because they're at a sprint as well, this is the final sprint of the season, if he does beat him by 28 points, YHY is our champion this evening. With there only being 14 drivers, I don't think Farrell's going to be one to give up as easy, and he never is the one that is to give up as easy, so it's always nice to see from the Irishman. But at the moment, we're riding on board with Crack. Took pole last week out at Canada. As I say, because it is a sprint, it is one shot qualifying. Crack making his way through the S's now, and it's probably my favourite part of the circuit, going through those S's, because you've got to try and be so precise with them to the point where you're not going to end up spinning out like Crack does going up the hill. Crack, that's his run done. We'll go on board both of the Aston Martins, actually. Stick on board with Hepula Boy, the one that's currently sitting on pole. He's made his way around the hairpin and now down the long DRS straight. One or two DRS straights, of course, the second one being on the start-finish straight. But now all the way down to the, coming up towards the end of the second sector, braking just between the 150 and the 100 meter board, because it's such a heavy braking zone. You want to try and get the power as early as possible, like Hepula Boy does. Now, as I say, the end of the second sector. Jordan all over his tail as well, splitting the two Aston Martins at the time being. In fact, the Scotsman might even be looking to put this on pole position for the sprint race. But Hepula Boy still gauging on top. As I say, the championship leader is the one that's now sitting on top. Hepula Boy making a little bit of a mistake as he made his way through the triple right-handers. Now the fast left-hander can catch a lot of people out. I think Connor O'Keefe has invalidated on his lap, but across the line they all come. It is going to be Hepula Boy on pole by 0.003 of a second, ahead of our championship leader of YHYY. MCR's in third and Farrell in fourth. Very, very tight knit between the top four, 2 and a bit tenths separating those four. And the rest of the results are as follows. Jordan, I thought he might have been also challenging on that pole, but ends up fifth. Both of the Mercedes actually very close to each other in fifth and sixth, only separated by 22 thousandths of a second. Mr. Valter is down in seventh, with Jay Hings in eighth, last week's race winner in Canada. CamK in ninth, and Matt's rounding out the top 10. Lars in 11th, and then our non-finishers, or the people that ended up invalidating or crashing out: Crack, Connor O'Keefe, and Matt Tibos. I had the feeling Connor O'Keefe did, because I saw him at the back at the entire time, but Matt Tibos did not expect him to be invalidated on his lap time either. And of course, those guys are also in the battle for this championship with Jordan and with Cam. And I was going to say, I'm with Cordy Kicker, but Cordy Kicker, ironically, after last week, ended up leaving the league. Not too sure why that would have been the case, because he was still within the championship hopes, and it still would have been nice to at least see him see the season out, but he decided to leave, so that's up to him. So yeah, what was a 8-driver championship has now basically gone down to a 6-driver championship. I think MCR, unfortunately for him, mathematically he's still in it, but he would need to hope that everybody in front of him DNFs, and he ends up winning the sprint and the feature to jump his way back into contention of this championship. So it is still technically a six horse race at the moment. Cam, Jordan, Matt Tibos, Connor O'Keefe, Farrell, and White Y, of course, in the reverse order. Jordan and Cam both tied on 122 points. Matt Tibos on 127 points. Connor O'Keefe on 130. Farrell on 149. And then, as I say, our championship leader of White Y on 174 points. I'll read out the rest of them just whilst we're going through the formation lap as well. And I'll just gauge the tyres I think that everyone's going for under sprint. I would have thought they'd all be on the exact same tyre. They are other than Matt Tibos, who's on a set of the soft compound of tyre. Very interesting to see and see if he's going to be able to maybe make up a few positions off of the start, but then towards the end of the sprint those softs will definitely start to degrade significantly more than those medium tyres, and the guys that he would have passed towards the start of this race may end up back in front of him, and Matt Tibos may not make up the positions that he thought he would have done on those soft compound tyre. I don't know. We'll see after these 10 laps and see if he has made the right choice or the wrong choice. But yeah, Hepula boy, very good lap time from him. Course in one-shot qualifying, putting it up onto pole position, up ahead of our championship leader of YHYY. As I said, needs to outscore Farrell by 28 points. Being ahead of him is a very good start. Putting a car between him is also a very good start as well. If YHYY can get ahead of Hepula boy and Farrell sort of stays in that same position, I think the points for the sprint are literally 10 to 1. The whole of the top 10 will get points. I say 10 points for the top and 10 points for first and 1 point for 10th. Bit of a tongue twister to say. So if YHY is to finish in first and Farrell finish in fourth, that would be an extra 3 points, and then YHY to win and Farrell to not get any points. That's championship then done and dusted. Again, that's just a scenario if that ends up happening tonight. Connor O'Keefe and Matt Tibos not put themselves in the best position. Again, they need to hope that YHY ends up DNFing in this race for them to stay in this championship. Same with Jordan and Cam. They've got to hope that YHY DNFs purely because those guys, as I say, those guys are still within the running. They are 52 points behind YHY. So they've got to hope that YHY doesn't outscore them. They need to outscore the Finn in both the sprint, mainly in the feature race. They need to outscore them by a decent amount to still be within the running of this championship. But then again, they'll just be holding to it by a thread. But we are now getting ourselves ready. We should be having the 5 red lights at any moment. Matt Tibos just getting himself into his pit box, into his starting grid. And we'll have the 5 red lights make their way on now. We have got the 3, 4, and the 5 lights for round number 16 of the sprint, and it's lights out and away we go. And it looks as if Hepula getting a better start in comparison to our championship leader. MCR also getting a very good start for both of the Aston Martins. Farrell tries to dive up the inside of the championship leader. The 3 wide going in towards turn number 1. They keep it nice and clean. Jordan, White and Farrell, 3 of the championship protagonists making their way through. Jordan is the one that comes out on top. Farrell as well. White losing out 3 positions at the start of this race, just trying to keep it nice and calm and easy. It's been a bit of a spin at the back as both of the Alpha Tauris not having a very good start. Matt Tibos now up into 12th position already. Both of the Aston Martins though, a beautiful start for the pair of them. And MCR also trying to see if he can go for a move on his teammate now down in towards the hairpin. You don't want to be fighting this too much, fellas, because you're trying to get away from the rest of the group. But MCR down the inside into the hairpin. Hepula boy's not going to try and fight that one too much, but they're both probably going to be burning their ERS as much as possible because Jordan is now closing up to the back of them and he's using his ERS. He wants to go for the move on Hepula boy ASAP. He wants to try and get himself into the lead of this race early doors. Backs off of that one though and keeps it nice and tidy. There's also another Mercedes of Ryan Beaton and Cam K both side by side as well, coming down towards the end of the second sector, as well as Mr. Valter and Crack both changing positions there as well. Again, very clean start other than Jay Hings at the back, as Mats and Lars both side by side. And as I said that, I think Lars may have made a bit of contact with Mats because Mats is now up into 12th, unless Lars just maybe missed it on his own. Not too sure with that one, but yeah, Connor O'Keefe and Matt Tibos also very close with each other for the final point in the sprint race. But at the moment, MCR being in the lead is trying to go down the inside of Mr. Valter into towards the final corner of the first lap. MCR, of course, taking the fastest lap of the race so far. Crack though gets the move done on the Ferrari, and I like that they've actually updated the Ferrari skin in this as well for the one that was in Vegas. Very nice to see. But yeah, so MCR managing to take the lead of the sprint race so far. Hepula Boy in second and Aston Martin 1-2. Jordan out into third, Farrell into fourth, White down into fifth. Exactly what Farrell needs to do is just keep on chipping away at the points as much as he possibly can, especially with 2 races remaining after tonight. Gabgay is into 6th. Ryan B in 7th with Crack in 8th, Mr. Marta in 9th, Connor O'Keefe riding out the top 10. Of course, both of the Ferraris in 9th and 10th, trying to fight for their for points in this sprint race as well. Matt Tibbles in 11th, Matt's in 12th, Lars in 13th, Jane Hings at the very back end of the grid after having a spin on lap 1. Again, I don't know if he made contact. He must have made contact with somebody because it's very odd to spin on your own there. So, I'm not sure who he made contact with, but hopefully he's able to try and make it up through that as well. But yeah, Cam, as I say, needs to try and do something. As Hepula Boy and Jordan were both just having a bit of a battle there. I think Jordan tried diving up the inside of the fin in front of him, but had managed to just to hold on to that position. Does the Aston Martin. Jordan not able to find a way through as Crack and Ryan B side by side as well. Crack down the inside of Ryan B through the hairpin just before the triple right-handers and gets the move done. Dustin Williams. Matt Tierboss also getting past Connor O'Keefe. Needed to get that done. They're both still side by side though. Connor O'Keefe going to have the inside in towards the fast left hand of the penultimate corner, but no, backs off of that one. Allows Matt Tierboss to go on through. Now Matt Tierboss all over the back of Mr. Valter for in that final corner. DRS is now of course going to be wide open, but these guys won't have it on this straight. They'll have it on the next long DRS straight, but Matt Tibos is keen to get through ASAP. Tries to look around the outside of the Dutchman in front of him, but no, backs off of that one through turn number 1. Just going to have to sit tight for now. He's utilised these soft tyres quite well because he started at the back of the grid, but yeah, he's now up into 10th, so he's in the points paying positions at this present moment, but he wants to try and get more, especially on those soft compounded tyre, and especially with it only being 10 laps. Those softs, I would like to say they would probably go about 5 or 6 laps before they really start going off. So he needs to try and get as many more moves done as possible. As he's saying that, he's now going to get overtaken. Connor O'Keefe down the inside of Matt Tibos into that hairpin. Matt Tibos saw that coming and just let it roll, let it happen. Now Connor O'Keefe is back up into the points paying position, and we're going to see, I think, a lead change go down. I think they might even go 3 wide in towards the hairpin. They are going 3 wide in towards the heavy breakers and Hepula Boy down the inside of MCR and of Jordan. Jordan ends up having a little bit of a wobble, tries to go around the outside of Hepula Boy. MCR is the one that's still holding on, and now Farrell and Jordan are both side by side of each other as they make their way through the double left hand. There's a little bit of contact. I think White Y got involved in that as well, and now Cracks down the inside of White Y going through the hairpin, but no, not able to go for that move at all. And this has been a very, very entertaining start to a sprint race, I've got to say. The 2 Aston Martins fighting it out with one another. MCR got past early, but now he's starting to struggle with being the lead car because Hepula Boy and Jordan are putting so much pressure on the Spaniard. And you can see everyone, other than the bottom 3, are still within that DRS train. All well, from the front end of the grid. Are we going to see any moves go down in towards turn number 1? I don't think we are. I think everyone's still just going to be holding stationary for the time being. But yeah, Hepula Boy just looks so much quicker in comparison to MCR. I think MCR got a bit eager a bit early, and now he's paying the cost of it because yeah, Hepula Boy, he's just looking that bit quicker. I don't know if that's just in a straight line because, as I said, that he's now pulled out about 4 tenths on the Hepula Boy, but it might just be in a straight line that Hepula Boy's just looking that much quicker. But also Farrell all over the back of the Scotsman. It's just Scottish versus the Irish going on as Crack going down the inside of White in towards the hairpin, both leaving each other a sufficient amount of space. And now it's going to be a drag race all the way down towards the end of the DRS. So Farrell's also going to go for this move on Jordan. They're both going to be using the ERS. It's 2 by 2. Noah's Arkin. The 2 Aston Martins changing positions. Farrell down the inside of Jordan, gets the move done. Crack down the inside of White. A little bit of wheel bump in between the pair of them, but White gives that one up. Crack now up into 5th position. Very good start from Crack. In fact, he started down in 12th position and he's now already up into 5th. So this has been an amazing start for him as Crack and Jordan now side by side of each other. Crack trying to get as many points as possible and as many positions as much as possible. But in doing so, it allowed White to maybe have a bit of a sniff at it. So maybe Crack's now just got to start to realise may need to back off ever so slightly, just so that he's not getting a bit too over eager and then ends up losing a position to someone that he's already overtaken. But yeah, as I say, 2 Aston Martins, both changing positions now as well, and Hepula Boy up into the lead of the race, MCR now down into 2nd, and you can see how much of a difference that's made because Farrell out with the DRS, Crack and Jordan now side by side with each other. In fact, Crack, I didn't even realise, dove it down the inside of Jordan in towards turn number 1, and he's gotten that move done. He's now up into 4th position. Jordan, though, he's applying that pressure back onto him, but you can see Crack, he's got that red flashing light on the back of his car, so he has run out of ERS, and to make matters worse, he's now picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. So all of the effort that he has basically just made from these first 5 laps are now all null and void, and he's gotten himself out of DRS from those top 3. Farrell's managed to claw his way back in, I believe, only just into the DRS of those guys, and Kanke having making a bit of a mistake out of the hairpin, almost going into the wall, and it's going to allow Ryan B to now go for a move on the American. Jordan going back through on Crack, and yeah, as I say, are we going to see Cam go for the move on Ryan B? I think we do. Ryan B tries to fight that one as much as possible, holding it around the outside, but not able to maintain that one, and the American is now up into 7th position. Very good battling between those guys. Very good battling all around as well. Crack, of course, going for a few audacious moves, it's got to be said, but he's making it work. He's keeping it clean. That's the main thing. He hasn't kept it clean because he's unfortunately gotten that 3-second time penalty. As Ryan B has dropped it out into the triple right-handers. I'm not sure if he dropped it on his own or made contact with someone. Maybe it could have been with Cam, because he was battling with Cam. But yeah, Ryan B, unfortunately, out of the triple right-handers, has now gone round, and he's out of a points contention in the sprint. Crack still all over the back of Jordan, and YY making a massive mistake in towards turn 1, and it invites Cam to go for the move. It also invites Connor O'Keefe to see if he can maybe go for a move on the Finn as well, both with a decent amount of ERS to their name as well. So they're both probably going to have to start using as soon as possible. But yeah, Cam now up ahead of YY, and that's exactly what the American needs, especially, as I say, 52 points separating him and the championship leader. So, so Cam definitely needed to get that move done. He needs to try and stay ahead of YY, not only in the sprint, but of course in the feature race as well, because wherever you finish in the sprint is where you're going to be starting then for the feature race. You haven't, of course, got the new mechanic of the sprint shootout, shall we say. We haven't got that as of yet. But YY, you see that red flashing light on the back of the American's car, and he goes down the inside using his ERS and DRS to full effect, and gets the move done on Cam. He's now back up into 6th position. Again, Cam needs to get back on the Finn in front of him, but with the lack of ERS, it might be a bit of a tall order for Cam to go for any sort of move. So yeah, Hepner Boy, as I say, is still leading this race at this current moment. MCR still in 2nd and Farrell in 3rd. Manager, as I say, got past Jordan towards the start of the sprint race. With just 4 laps left to go, top 5 have now broken away from our championship leader. The championship leader is actually now going to be put under pressure from Cam, because he's not going to have any DRS to his name. Cam will have the DRS, but with not that much ERS to play with, I don't think YY is really worrying too much. And I think he's just content with where he is at this moment. I don't blame him, but yeah, he doesn't really need to worry too much about what's going on all around him. As I think we might see a lead change go down potentially as they make their way towards the first DRS zone of 2 on the 7th lap. And you can just see Hepler Boy is now starting to struggle with him being in the lead. Connor O'Keefe gets a move done on Cam K. Both still side by side. In fact, Cam holding it around the outside of that hairpin and got the better traction in comparison to the Ferrari. And I'm going to go to that actually, because I don't think there's anything else going on. As I said, that Crack was looking for a move on Jordan. But yeah, YY stays up ahead. Connor O'Keefe gets the move done on Cam. Cam, of course, as I said, without that ERS, is a sitting duck of trying to hold on as Mr. Valter and Matt's both side by side going out of the hairpin. I think Mr. Valter must have just had a little bit of overstick, so just seen that in the back there, unless it was Matt's just tapping the back of the Ferrari's tyre and then just sort of getting dragged across from that. Not sure what had happened there. We might get something after this race. But Matt Tibos now all over the back of Cam, and Cam is already lost out a second in this sector alone after being overtaken by Connor O'Keefe. So Cam is really struggling to make anything work in this race. And now we're going to see Matt Tibos get this move done on Cam K up into 8th position. Cam, unfortunately, I thought he was going to be able to hold on ahead of YY, but he's now 3 positions behind the championship leader. So yeah, it's looking like Cam might be out of this championship contention. MCR is still well within this. He's still in second place at this moment. And I don't know if Hepula Boy is going to play a team order. Obviously, at this moment, I think he's still content with just sitting in the lead of this race, in the lead of the sprint race. But will Hepula Boy play a team order and let MCR go on by maybe in the next couple of laps or at the end of this sprint? As there's yellow flags, that's Ryan B, who's had a spin out of the fast left-hander after the double rights through the S's. So yeah, Ryan B, not sure what's happened to him there, but unfortunately now down into last position, and now it's very tight and compact. So if they want to do team orders, they're going to need to try and do this in a very smart way without letting Farrell or Crack move their way past. Crack, not necessarily too much of a worry considering he has the 3-second time penalty, but especially not trying to let Farrell go on through. And Farrell still 3 positions up ahead of YHY, get at least an extra 3 more points in comparison to the Finn, our championship leader. So it'll go down to 22 points off a gap between the top 2 in this championship. On to the penultimate lap now though. Hepula Boy still in the lead of this. He's built up his ERS quite well actually, I've got to say. And Matt Tibos made a little bit of a mistake coming out of the final corner. Cam K has managed to stick with him in this lap. So I have to say, I think his soft tyres are now starting to go off, and he's now going to start to feel the full effect of those softs. Very unfortunate for him because he was starting to make up a few decent moves and starting to make up some pace. But yeah, he's now going to start to feel the full effect of the soft compound tyre, and it's going to affect him in these final 2 laps. But will he be able to hold on ahead of Cam, who's also been struggling within this race? I guess only time will tell. As I say, that Lars has DNF'd out of this race. Where is it that he's actually been there? I want to just see from Jay Higgins' point of view. He's banged it into the wall out of the exit of the double right-handers. Okay, very interesting. I'm not sure how Lars has done that because he was on his own. He had 2-second gap in front of him and a second gap behind him. So, yeah, Lars must have done that on his own. Very strange. I suppose that means that those medium tyres also went off. Oh, are going off, shall I say. As Jordan now gets overtaken by YHY. In fact, they're both side by side of each other. Jordan holds on ahead of the Finn, but it might try a bit of a switchback as YHY. Is he going to try it down in towards the double left-handers over here? No, he does not. Holds on for the time being. But Jordan now 1.5 seconds behind the top 4. It was a 5-car race, now down to a 4-car race for the lead of this race. Jordan lets YHY go. Wants to try and get within or stay within his DRS. Playing the smart game here ahead of this ahead of the championship leader. But then again, YHY, he's done well to defend as much as possible. Is Jordan going to be able to hold get back past YHY? Because YHY used a bit of his DRS in towards turn number 1, but Jordan, he's going to be able, he's got a significant amount of ERS in comparison to our championship leader. As we're now on to the final lap of this race, are we going to see these 2 Aston Martins change? Or are they going to stay where they currently are? In terms of Hepula Boy's points actually, let me have a look at what points he's on. So he's on 106 points. In fact, he's only 2 points behind MCR. So maybe there won't be any team orders. Maybe the 2 Aston Martins are going to have their own nice little interluding battle between them. And I think that is what's going down. They're not. MCR is not gaining. Hepula Boy is not going to let him by. Hepula Boy is going to hold on to the lead of this race. MCR is still going to remain in second. Jordan's managed to get back past YHY. So YHY is now back down into 6th. Connor O'Keefe all over the back of these 2 battling it out as well. YHY has got to try and go for an audacious send on Jordan if he wants any chance of being able to maintain 5th position. But he doesn't. He ends up still in 6th, and at the moment the 2 Aston Martins are still very close to each other. Hepula Boy is looking like he's going to hold on. 2 more corners left to go. There's yellow flags. Not sure what that's for, if I'm honest with you, but around the final corner they come for the sprint race for the final time this season. It is Hepula Boy taking the win of the final sprint race. MCR in 2nd, Farrell in 3rd, Jordan in 4th, Crack in 5th. Just manages to pit YHY in the end. So Jordan played that very smart. Managed to stay within the 3 seconds of Crack and keep YHY out of it. And Crack ends up 5th and YHY in 6th. So close, but so smart, and those guys out in the lead there of Farrell, of Jordan in this championship battle, they're they're being able to keep their hopes alive within this. Matt Tibos, very unfortunately for him, ended up finishing in ninth, got overtaken by Cam in the end. Connor O'Keefe, to be fair, both of them made a very good recovery from 13th and 14th to finish in 7th and 9th. Can't fault them for that at all. Obviously, the qualifying did not go their way whatsoever, but they did it. They put themselves in a decent position in that sprint race to then go on forward for that feature race. But yeah, Hepler Boy took the win. MCR in second, with Farrell in third, Jordan in fourth, Crack in fifth, White Wine in sixth, Connor O'Keefe in seventh, Cam K in eighth, Matt Tibbles in ninth. Matt ran that top 10 and the final points position in the sprint race. Mr. Vata in 11th, with Jay Hinton 12th, Ryan B in 13th, and our only DNFer of that race, Lars, in 14th position, who was running in the top 10. I'm not sure what had happened to him. Like I say, I'm sure we'll find out in a short moment, but yeah, very close between a lot of those guys, and a very good sprint race. I said, obviously, other than towards the back end of the field, it was overall a very good sprint race. But we're now going to be going into the main feature race, a 29-lap race, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll see how that is going to go down. Will it be a Hepler Boy that takes the win of that as well? Will it be MCR managing to get back past his teammate? I said to MCR, if he wanted any chance of being able to win this, he needed to hope that White DNF'd and he would win in both the feature and the sprint. He got second in the sprint. He now needs to just try and win the feature. Same with Hepler Boy. I suppose he is still technically within the championship spot as well, but again, for both of the Aston Martins, it's just not looking likely at all. It's not looking likely. It's a very good start for them in Kota, finishing up ahead of White by a decent margin, but they're now got to try and do this in the sprint race as well, in the feature race. So, again, I suppose anything can happen. So, what tyres has everyone opted to go on? Let's have a quick look, shall we? Okay, an interesting mix of strategies. Only one that stands out to me is Jordan in 4th position on a set of softs, as White and Connor O'Keefe disqualified from the qualifying session, from the formation lap, so they will be starting on cold tyres. Matt Tibos and Cam K behind them may need to get themselves buckled up to get past the pair of them. Very interesting that has gone down, but yeah, both of the Aston Martins are starting on a set of mediums. Farrell on mediums, Crack on mediums, White on mediums, Matt Tibos, Ryan B and Lars at the back also on a set of mediums, and then on the hards, Connor O'Keefe, Cam K, Matt, Mr. Vata and Jay Hings. Almost an even split, a couple more extra mediums in comparison to hard tyres, but overall, I think it's an interesting split. I think the guys that are on a set of the hards, guys like Connor, Cam, they're the ones that you need to watch out for towards the end of the race. Jordan's, I am very intrigued to see what the Scotsman's going to do in his strategy. Starting on a set of softs, you'd assume he'd want to try and go for a set of mediums at the end. I don't know if medium soft or soft medium is possible, but if it is, he's going to try and make it work as well as possible. But yeah, very intriguing strategy. Whereas the guys that are starting on a set of the hards, of course, they'll probably go on a set of the mediums towards the end of the race, or could play out a bit longer, hope for a safety car, like towards the latter stage of the race, and go on a set of the softs. Could also work out for them. Again, only time will tell within these 28 laps who will come out on top and who will prevail and who won't prevail. If White ends up taking the championship tonight, that is also a possibility, but in fact, actually, I don't think you can. No, you can't. If White had finished ahead of Farrell, there was still the opportunity of him winning it tonight, but because Farrell ended up finishing ahead of White in the sprint, there is no chance of White being able to take the championship for tonight. So it will roll on over to Vegas next week. Make sure you are tuning into that. You do not want to be missing that whatsoever. But for the final time from me, The 5 red lights are on for round number 16 of Season X. A very quick getaway. Lights out and away we go. MCR getting a very good start in comparison to Happy the Boy. Farrell also getting a very good start. And now our leader for the sprint race is now down into 3rd position. MCR is going to hold on to the lead, although there's a little bit of wall banging going on. There's a bit of forcing off track as well. Happy the Boy is going to try and claim back the lead off of the Spaniard, and I don't think he's going to be able to. He's just going to hold back for now. Jordan is now gotten past Farrell, going through the S sections here. There's yellow flags towards the back end of the field. That's Ryan B and Matt. I'm not sure what's happened with them. In fact, it is just Matt's, unfortunately, through the S section. I guess they must have made a bit of contact, but Farrell now down into 4th, Crack up to 5th. Camcade's moved his way up into 6th. Our championship leaders down to 9th. Not a good start whatsoever for YHYY, but side-by-side action going on. YHYY trying to get reclaim some of those positions, getting up ahead of Connor O'Keefe. Of course, Connor O'Keefe is on a set of the hard, so he's probably just going to let him go on by for now. Just sit behind him, let him guide him up towards the field again, because he's dropped out a little bit as Jordan now getting a move done on Happy the Boy down in towards the heavy breakers. So Crack also going for the move on Farrell as well, and Connor O'Keefe trying to get back that position. Excuse me, on YHYY. Crack's now going to try and not go around the outside of just Farrell, but of Hepler Boy as well. Not going to be able to do so. Crack, though, going to try and dive it down the inside. Farrell's going to try and dive down the inside of Hepler Boy, though. Bit of contact, keeps it on the track just about, and manages to hold on over a little bit of space with Hepler Boy there as well. But I don't think Hepler Boy was expecting Farrell to absolutely send it down the inside, and manages to get into 3rd position. Jordan is making up those positions though on those softs that he needs to, but he's losing time to MCR. MCR has just been able to get away nice and cleanly, and is now, of course, in the lead of the race. I'm not sure why Jordan is sort of swerving. I don't know if he needs to get heat in those tyres or what, but yeah, Matt Tebos now going to see if he can go for a move on Cam Crack as well. Look and see if he can go for a move on Hepler Boy. There's just so much weaving going on left, right and centre. Matt Tebos manages to swerve it around the outside of Cam K into turn 1. Beautiful move done. Up into 6th position now as well. And Crack, as I say, all over the back of Hepler Boy for P4. Our winner in the sprint is now down into 4th position. Not a good start whatsoever for Hepler Boy. Now getting pressured by Crack for P4 as well. So could end up dropping down to P5 very, very soon. Matt Tebos as well on a bit of a charge. Started down in, I think it was in 8th or 9th position. 9th position. He's now up to 6th already after that first lap. And again, he's just looking to see if he can make up any more positions that he possibly can. Hopefully those timings will fix themselves very, very soon. But yeah, at the moment, Crack, as I say, he's just doing what he can to get, well, just to make up any sort of move possible. But then again, you say you're going to have to charge him. Matt Till's from behind you as well. It's not a nice sight to see, especially if you're Crack. You don't want to see that Papaya charging towards the back of you, because yeah, things could get a bit nasty. But Crack, you can just see going through the triple right-handers, had a little bit of a slide, and I think he may have just picked up himself a first warning there. Remember, he was the only one that picked up a 3-second time penalty in the sprint, which could indicate that Crack could potentially be on for a early 3-second time penalty within just this feature race alone. DRS though now wide open, and everyone within that DRS train other than Matt's, unfortunately, after having that spin in the first lap. As I said, it must have been in contact with someone, I'm not too sure who, but yeah, everyone is still within this DRS train for the time being. Jordan on those softs, he's tried to make it work as much as possible. He's got himself into 2nd, but he's not utilising them as much as I thought he would do, and he's almost out of the DRS of MCR. So those softs and the heavier fuel must wear down a lot quicker than what they would in the sprint, because Matt Tibbles up until lap 8 was blitzing it on those softs, but then ended up dropping off immediately as soon as lap 8 hits. So yeah, I think those softs, they'll probably only be able to go until maybe about lap 7 on the heavier fuel before they drop off the cliff, as Mr. Vata and Lars changing positions, and now Mr. Vata getting overtaken by his teammate Connor O'Keefe, now up into 10th. Of course, in this feature race, it's going to be top 12 that end up getting points like the normal League of Europe point system. So Ryan B in the Mercedes will be our final points position, as Ryan B maybe looking down the inside of Mr. Vata, going through the hairpin. Jay Hings not looking to try and capitalise on this either. Bit of a disappointing show so far for Jay Hings. You know, taking a win at Canada last week, now down in 13th position and out of the points, and didn't even end up picking points out in the sprint either. it's not looking like a good weekend so far for Jay Hings. But yeah, Jordan, he's now a lot closer to MCR this time around in comparison to the last lap. Was Ryan B getting the move done on Mr. Vata down into just before turn 1. Must have done, maybe even done it in towards the final corner. Jay Hings now looking to see if he can go for a move on the Dutchman out in front of him, but no, not able to do so for the time being. So Jordan still holding on to the back of MCR, and Farrell also keeping tabs on the Scotsman out in front of him as well. Crack also all over the back of Het Pillar Boy. The top 6 already getting themselves a gap now ahead of ahead of Cam K. Cam K 1.4 seconds now behind those guys as Crack got down the inside of Het Pillar Boy into the hairpin. Gets the move done and is now up into 4th position, but I get the feeling we're going to see a lead change go down. Jordan using his ERS wants to go for this move on MCR. Down the inside he goes. MCR's not going to try and fight that one too hard. Gets the move done. Het Pillar Boy goes back on Crack. Bit of an interesting say on that, but yeah, gets the move back down on Crack, and now up into 4th position goes the other Aston Martin. MCR also trying to defend from Farrell as much as possible. You can see Farrell just so much more confident on the brakes in comparison to the Spaniard, because I don't think MCR wants to, hit the back of Jordan. But yeah, Jordan now up into the lead of this race on those soft compounder tyre. And he's going to probably lead for the next couple of laps. As I say that, the MCR is going to try and go back down the inside in towards the final corner. Backs out of that one, but he's going to have the DRS on the Scotsman, and I think that's going to be moved done. Farrell though also going to see if he can capitalise on getting the move done. He's gotten past one, he's gotten past MCR, and Farrell double overtake in towards turn number 1. MCR's going to try and switch it back. I think touches the back of the Alfa Romeo, but gets the move done and it manages to hold on to it. Very well worked from Farrell. Now the leader of the race in Division 3. Very good work from him, and that's not what White Show wants to be seeing whatsoever. As now Jordan down into 3rd position, and I think those softs are definitely starting to go off for the Scotsman, because he's already dropped back 6 tenths behind 2nd place. Het Pillar Boy looking to see if he can maybe go for a move on Jordan any point. It goes down, it dives it down the inside into the hairpin. Jordan's going to hold it around the outside. It's going to invite Crack now to see if he can go for a move. They're 3 wide as they have a drag race now down towards the heavy braking zone at the end of the 2nd sector. Is it going to be able to be Crack? Is Matt Tilos now joining the fray as well? They're almost 4 wide going down in towards it. Crack's gone very wide. It goes onto the grass. He's managing to hold it around the outside, but gets forced off by Jordan. Crack's got on a 3-second time penalty, and Jordan holds on ahead of Het Pillar Boy, but Crack is now seeing if he can go for a move down on Het Pillar Boy for 4th position. Het Pillar Boy dives it down the inside of Jordan in towards the hairpin. This is some great racing between a lot of them. Bit of contact between Het Pillar Boy and Crack. I think Crack just see it sort of being shown the door there. Het Pillar Boy maintains 4th position for the time being, but I don't think Crack's going to be too happy with what's going on. It's invited YHRY back into this battle now as well. Matt Tibos going to see if he can go for a move on Crack as YHRY into the pits. Mr. Valter picks up the 3-second time penalty for his troubles as well. So the second 3-second time penalty we're seeing of the race, but Matt Tibos gets the move done on Crack, and Crack now down into 6th position. What a chaotic set of corners we've just witnessed, but manages to get himself up into 5th position. Jordan manages to hold on to 3rd on those dying tyres, and still this battle is going on between Jordan and Het Pillar Boy. Het Pillar Boy is not giving up whatsoever, but he needs to get past Jordan, because otherwise he's going to lose DRS to those top 2. And in fact, Jordan has lost DRS to those top 2, and now it's up to Het Pillar Boy to get the move done ASAP. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to have a hold on, not going to be able to have an opportunity to try and hold on the DRS between those top 2. As Farrell is on an absolute charge at the moment. As Het Pillar Boy trying to dive down the inside in towards the hairpin. But yeah, Farrell on an absolute charge at the moment. He's gotten out of DRS from MCR. I think MCR may have still gotten it from the detection zone, but he's on an absolute charge of being able to stay up ahead of the Spaniard. As Het Pillar Boy now gets that move done on Jordan. Matt Tibos is going to try and follow suit as well. Jordan does back off of that when he sees Matt Tibos coming. Matt Tibos almost going into the back of Het Pillar Boy, but gets the car stopped in time. Very nicely done from Matt Tibos, and he's now up into 4th position. Started in 9th in this feature race, and he's looking to now fight for that final podium spot as Cracks dove up the inside of not one but of 2 drivers and gets the move done. I think I might have seen something fly off potentially. I don't know if Matt Tibos has picked up damage because of Crack's dive from that. I hope not, but that was an absolute audacious lunge from Crack as Cam Kane now seeing if he can go down the inside of Jordan. That's a Jordan on those dying tyres is now under pressure from absolutely everybody, especially those guys on the hard tyres, because their tyres are probably still absolutely loving life. Cam gets past Jordan. Conor O'Keefe, is he going to try and follow and get past Jordan as well? He looks to go down the inside of turn number 1. I think he's going to be able to... No, he's not going to be able to do anything. He's going to have to hold on and sit behind Jordan for the time being. I was saying that he looked at a little bit of a move through the S section, but Jordan goes very wide, going through the S's, forces off Conor O'Keefe. A little bit of wheel banging with that, and now it allows Ryan B in the Mercedes to now go down the inside, going on the uphill section, but Conor O'Keefe will have the inside for the second part of the uphill section and maintains P8 for the time being. But yeah, a lot of battling now, and a lot of this being down to Jordan on those old tyres. Of course, he's allowed to fight for the positions as much as possible, but yeah, all of that stemming because of Jordan. Conor O'Keefe a little bit forced off with Ryan B. Ryan B though manages to get in front of Conor O'Keefe, and Conor O'Keefe looking to see if he can maybe go back on ahead of Ryan B in the Mercedes. Ryan B though goes a bit defensive because I think he wants to try and go past his teammate. I think Jordan's going to try and allow him by it as well, but Jordan doesn't want to allow Conor O'Keefe by, and I think he might have to at this point because he's trying to go around the outside. Conor O'Keefe picks up a 3-second time penalty, which I guess might be removed after this race. So I feel like he may pick up a warning after being forced off maybe once or twice. But yeah, Conor O'Keefe now down into 9th position. Make that 10th as Lars has gotten the move done on the Ferrari. And Jay Hings also could potentially be eyeing up a move on Conor O'Keefe very, very soon. Are we going to see any pit stoppers? Jordan, of course, has to make that way in. There was no way he was going to hold on for one more lap out on that, because that was just awful from him. But yeah, Farrell now 2 seconds up ahead of MCR. I'm not sure what what's happened with MCR, but Farrell is just he's doing a very good job, as I say, out in the lead of this race at this moment, and up into by 2.1 seconds now in front of MCR. Hairpin Boy has caught up to MCR, but not looking to go for any move at the moment. As now I feel like we could just bring it down a bit of a tone. Definitely been a couple of laps there. A lot of overtaking going down, but I think now everyone's just sort of... And now a couple of pit stops are happening. White White's made the pit stop. Jordan, of course, made his pit stop. He's 8 seconds behind White, interestingly enough, so I'm not sure what's happened with that there, but White all over the back of Mats, and I feel like we're going to see our championship leader go for this move on Mats. I think Mats, I don't know if he's just letting him by or what, but yeah, White gets the move done on Mats, and yeah, that's now him up into 12th position. Yeah, it's very interesting that went down there, but yeah, Crack got down the inside of Hairpin Boy again. Crack loves trying to go for the dive down the inside onto that hairpin, holds it around the outside for the triple right hand. Is very, very bold move, and now has the inside for the fast left hand, the penultimate corner, to get his way up into 3rd position. Of course, Crack has that 3-second time penalty. Lars picks up the 3-second time penalty now for his troubles down in 9th position, but yeah, not what you exactly want to be seeing from well, very unfortunate for Crack that he has that 3-second time penalty, because he's again on a charge. I think he's probably the only other one that might be able to keep up with Farrell as much as possible, and you can see he's all over the back of MCR now, putting so much pressure on him, more than what Hairpin Boy was putting, Hairpin Boy was putting the pressure on him for. But you can see it just riding through as we're making our way up the hill. You can just see that MCR just seems to be that much better going up the hill that way, but I don't know if that's because of the dirty air, but when it comes towards the straight, you'll be able to see Crack. He'll use that DRS to his effect, and the ERS, he hasn't got much of that, but he may try and use that to solidify getting past MCR. MCR, is he going to use any of his ERS? No, he's not. Crack though, DRS wide open, down the inside he goes, gets the move done on MCR. MCR now down into 3rd position, and almost Hairpin Boy going into the bank of his teammate. That wouldn't have been very good to see. And Matt Timos almost followed suit as well, interestingly enough. But yeah, Crack now up into 2nd position, and I think Farrell going to be a little bit worried that he's seeing Crack up into 2nd, because as I said, Crack is probably the only other one that will be able to keep up with Farrell. The way that it's been going so far this evening, Crack is definitely one of the quicker drivers around here. He must have just had a bit of a well, we saw his one-shot qualifying lap was, he ended up spinning at the top of the hill, so it didn't go well for him whatsoever. But Yeah, Crack now up into second position. Of course, with that 3-second time penalty, though, it's going to drop him probably down towards 6th, 7th position. That kind of area by the time it gets to the end of this race, if it was to finish the way that it is at this moment. As Lars now into the pits. Y, by the way, we've got to remember, he made an undercut decision quite early on. Jordan has now just set the fastest lap off this race. But yeah, Y made an undercut decision very early on. So I would have thought he would come out maybe ahead of Crack and Farrell. But is he going to be able to hold on ahead of those two towards the end of this race? Or is Y planning a 2-stop? There is that possibility that he could be planning that 2-stop race. But yeah, at the moment, it is still Farrell 2.5 seconds now. Crack is starting to just bridge that gap down ever so slightly. And MCR still not going to be able to go for a move on Crack. Happy boy, happy just sitting behind his teammate for the time being, Matt Tibos as well. Again, just probably content with just sitting in this little DRS train, hoping that they can try and catch up to the back of Farrell as Y gets a move done on Mr. Vata now for P10. And just a little bit behind as well, Conrad Keith and Ryan B still having their little squabbles for the past couple of laps as well. Let's have a look then. If it finishes the way that it is, I think I calculated it that Y finished 6th, Farrell finished in 3rd in that sprint race. As that's Ryan B into the pits now on those medium tyres, so he's going to go for the hards to the end of the race. But yeah, so Farrell finishing 3rd, Y finishing 6th. Yeah, that's 3 points difference that makes between those two, which means that Farrell then goes to 22 points behind Y. If it finishes the way that it is at this current moment, Farrell will gain himself 25 points. Y will gain himself 4 points. That's 21 points. That means it's only a 1 point difference between Farrell and Y. But you've got to remember, Y did make a pit stop early, so that is why he's not out of the running whatsoever yet. And I've got to think, Farrell, Crack, MCR, all got to be making a pit stop very soon, because, and interestingly enough, where Ryan B has come out, he's come out 5 seconds behind Jordan. Jordan has made an immense amount of pace up as well. Not only Y, but yeah, the Scotsman has. So they're going to be putting so much more pressure on to those guys that have yet to pit. But at the same time, they'll have the fresher tyres when it comes towards the end of the race. In which case, that will pay back in their favour massively. Crack has now gained about, I think, nearly just about a second on Farrell, almost in a diss lap alone. So yeah, I think Farrell's tyres are definitely starting to go off. I think we're going to see him coming to the pits this lap. No, we are not. Are we going to see anybody in this top 5 into the pits? No, we are not, interestingly enough. I don't know why they've not made their way into the pits, because I said Y. If we have a look at the time difference, it's 12 seconds behind Farrell. He's well within a chance of winning this race now as Y after all of that. As I say though, it just depends on what the tyres are going to be like towards the end of this race. Happy the boy though, he's managed to close the gap up a bit more to his teammate, because MCR's now lost DRS to Crack, and Crack almost within DRS of Farrell. Are we going to see a change between the two Aston Martins? I think we are. Happy the boy goes down the inside of MCR and takes 3rd position, or a net 2nd because of Crack's penalty. But yeah, Crack is doing a very good job of making up that 3 seconds to make that penalty basically null and void for him. But yeah, as I say, surely we've got to see these guys, or at least 1 or 2 of these guys, make their way in the pits this lap. There's got to be. I'll be shocked if none of them make their way into the pits this lap. Let's have a look. Round the penultimate corner. Farrell into the pits he comes. Crack stays out. Headpillar Boy in. MCR wanted to come in, but Headpillar Boy said, no, I'm coming in, and came in himself. Matt Tibos I think was getting duped out with that, and I think wanted to go for a move on MCR, wanted to stay behind him for the time being, but now goes in front of the Spaniard. Crack is now in the lead of this race. Matt Tibos is now up to second. He gets the job done on MCR. MCR now down to third, and Cam is now starting to close up to those two out in front of him. Where are they all coming out, though, in relation to YHY and to Jordan? Jordan is now side by side with Farrell. James picks up a 3-second time penalty, but Farrell side by side with the Scotsman going through the S section. I don't think Jordan's going to be able to hold on to that one for too much longer. Farrell gets out in front of Jordan. That's the main thing for Farrell. He needed to stay out ahead of Jordan, but now he's got a 2-second gap to YHY out in front of him. With, of course, fresher tyres, 7-lap fresher tyres, you know, you'd think Farrell would be able to make that up. And you can already see, in fact, no, sorry, it's actually a 5-second difference, sorry. I thought I was reading YHY's one that's a 5.5. No, he's 6 seconds behind YHY. Is Farrell. So, yeah, Farrell, he's got it all to do. A 6-second gap separating the top two in the championship. Farrell dives down the inside of Mr. Valter. Of course, Mr. Valter yet to make a pit stop. Now getting into the thick of it with all of these guys battling it out as well. Are we seeing any of the other top guys make their way into the pits? MCR, the only one out of the other top three into the pits. Surprising that Crack and Matt Tibos didn't follow suit, as Mr. Valter just going very wide out of the penultimate corner there. But yeah, very surprised it was only MCR that came into the pits. I'm surprised I didn't see Matt Tibos or Crack come into the pits. That suggests to me they could be going on a set of the softs at the end of this race and maybe trying to drag these mediums out to lap 17, lap 18, I want to say. Lap 18, I don't actually want to say if that's the case, but yeah, and it's very surprising for me because Matt Tibos, he was the only one that used those softs, and he knew how bad they were towards the end of his stint. So surprising to me that he's attempting to go for this again. If it is what I'm thinking he's doing, it is quite surprising he's trying to attempt it again. Farrell now 4.6 seconds behind YHY. I think a pass going down here of Happy the Boy on Mr. Walter into the hairpin, and yeah, Finn gets past the Dutchman. Connor O'Keefe gets the move done on Cam Kate as well. Again, the American versus the Brit. One in the Ferrari, one in the Alpine. Are we going to see Cam maybe try and attempt to move on Connor O'Keefe in towards a double left-hander? No, we are not. He's going to be content sitting behind him for the time being. The two hard runners, that's it said they started on these hards. They've made a decent amount of progress up on them, and they've not caused themselves any sort of trouble so far in this race. Of course, they still need to make their pit stop and go on a set of mediums maybe towards the end of it, as Connor O'Keefe going very wide out of the final, penultimate corner. Crack now into the pits, finding Matt Tibos, the only one that's now stayed out on those medium tyres, and Jay Hings has come out on the mediums as well himself. MCR swooping it around the outside and gets up into 12th position. Very good move from MCR on Matt's as well. YHY passes Crack. Where is Crack coming out in relation to everybody else? Farrell, who he was trying to chase down, is now a decent amount of time ahead of him. Jordan, the Happy Boy in front, and Ryan B out in front now as well. So Crack, again, he's got it all to do because he didn't pit early enough. He's now a decent amount of time behind, well, Farrell, who was only about 1.2 seconds behind originally. He's now what? He's about 6 seconds behind Farrell. After all of that. Farrell, by the way, he's made up 2 seconds on YHY just in this lap alone. So that early undercut from YHY is not looking like it has worked. And same with Jordan. They both went for that undercut. Of course, Jordan started on the set of the soft, so it was understandable for him to go for that undercut. But Happy Boy gets the move done on the Scotsman. And now Ryan B going to try and chase down his teammate to see if he can go for a move on him. But Crack all over the back of the Mercedes of Ryan B. Surely for Crack, he's got to try and save a bit of his DRS. Wants to try it. He can overtake Ryan B naturally with that DRS. So I'll be surprised if we see him try and use more ERS just to try and go for the move on Ryan B out in front of him. But you can just see the lines that they're both taking. Ryan B taking a bit more of a shallower line, whereas Crack utilising as much track as possible. Cam interestingly, the first hard runner into the pits to go on a set of the mediums. So he's going to have a bit more of an advantage now as well for himself. The fact that he's going on a set of mediums to go to the end of this race. He may come out behind Jay Hings, I would have said. No, in fact, actually, not coming out behind Jay Hings. Yeah, no, he may come out behind Jay Hings. I thought that was Jay Hings that just made his way into the pits, but no, it was Matt. Sorry, that made his way into the pits on this lap. Matt Tibos still not pitting as of yet, and Conor O'Keefe is now within the DRS of Matt Tibos. So, are we going to see Matt try and play a teammate game as well, because he's only 5 seconds in front of YXY, and for YXY he's been caught another 2 seconds on this lap alone by Farrell. And of course, these top two battling it out for the championship. This is now the battle for the final podium position, but also I think a battle for the win in this race. As you can see, YXY using a bit of his battery, Farrell using a bit of his battery. Conor O'Keefe gets the lead of the race now ahead of Matt Tibos. Farrell has to hold on behind YXY for the time being. Jordan all over the back of Crack as well. Crack manages to hold on ahead of Jordan, and now going to try and chase down Hepula Boy for that P5. Of course, with that time penalty, it's going to be a bit more difficult for him to try and make up anything. As Farrell and YXY now both side by side, the two championship protagonists are going to be dueling it out now through the triple right-handers. Farrell with that much more grip, that much younger tyres, 7-lap younger tyres in comparison to YXY. YXY goes a bit defensive, and Farrell taps the back of YXY. Did he pick himself up any wing damage? I can't see any visible wing damage, but may have just gotten himself maybe a front yellow end plate on that. Matt Tibos and Conor O'Keefe finally into the pits. Farrell now, though, takes the lead of this race, and YXY now down into second position. The Irishman now leading for round number 16, and he's now got to hope that the likes of Hepula Boy, the likes of Craig, are going to be catching him ASAP. We saw from Conor O'Keefe and from Cam's tyres that those hards really only last until at lap 14, and we've only got another 3 more laps, and that hits at lap 14, and 3 more laps time. There's still another 8 laps left to go of that race. So YXY, I think, coming in early, I think, to try and avoid a lot of the traffic out in front of him, probably was not the best idea whatsoever, as MCR gets to move on Jordan for P6, just manages to hold on to the DRS up ahead of the other Mercedes as well. So good job from the Spaniard to hold on to that one. Crack, though, all over the back of Hepula Boy. He wants to try and go for this move. He's using the ERS, the little ERS that he has. With the DRS, he wants to try and go for it down the inside, in towards the heavy braking zone as well. Crack is getting that move done, and has gotten that move done. And Hepula Boy, I'm surprised he didn't use any more ERS. He's got nearly 60% of that to use, and he's about 3.5 seconds behind Farrell, who's leading in this race. I don't know why you wouldn't use it, but he's the one that's racing, not me, so up to him. As Jordan gets moved on Jay Hings, going through that hairpin. Of course, Jay Hings, he's now on a set of medium tyres. Of course, he's got 3-second time penalty, but he is actually trying to make his way through the pack. We saw this last week out in Canada, chucked on a fresher set of medium tyres, and it worked for him, and got his way back up into the lead of the race, and just stormed on off. Could we see something very similar for this tonight? MCR gets the move done on Ryan B. Jay Hings now past Jordan in towards turn 1, and now got to have another Mercedes he's got to try and pass, but Jay Hings a little low on the ERS, may compromise that a little bit later on in this race. But yeah, Farrell, you can see now nearly 3 seconds up ahead of YHYY. Insane pace from Farrell so far. A little bit further back. Yeah, there you go. Crack now up into second position. Got the move done on YHY down that DRS straight. Matt Tibos getting the move done on Lars as well. He did go on a set of the soft tyres like I thought he would. Jay Hings getting the move done on Ryan B as well. So Jay Hings now up into 6th position. Chasing down MCR. There's yellow flags. That's, I believe, Lars having a bit of a spin at the exit of the heavy braking zone in the sector 2. Camke trying to go down the inside of Jordan as well. Jordan on those 10-lap-old hard tyres is now a sitting duck from everybody else, especially the guys that are on those medium tyres like Jay Hings and like Camke. Down the inside goes the American on the Scotsman, and that's the move done. Jordan now down into 9th. And getting pressured from Matt Tibos. I don't think he's going to be able to fight Matt Tibos that hard either. But just look at the run that Matt Tibos got out of that final corner. He's all over the back of him. White White gets overtaken by Heckler boy. Matt Tibos now going to see if he can go down the inside of Jordan in towards turn number 1. Matt Lars has just retired from the session, but down the inside goes Matt Tibos. Jordan's not going to fight that one too hard. And up to 9th position now he goes. Cam all over the back of Ryan B. Seeing if he can maybe go for a move. Obviously not through the S section, but maybe a little bit further down the road. And yeah, you can see Cam, he's just stuck behind him. He wants to go, he wants to get past him. Cam though, it hits the back of Ryan B. I don't know if that's just giving him damage or if that was just a bit of lag contact on my end, but it definitely looked like he hit the back of the Mercedes. And now Matt Tibos is going to look to see if he can go for a move on Camke. Down the inside, he goes in towards the hairpin. Of course, both on a fresher set of tyres, but Matt Tibos on those softer compounded tyre. Both are going to have the DRS on the back of Ryan B. Ryan B, unfortunately, is going to lose out 2 positions, but is Cam going to be able to get the move back done on Matt Tibos as they make their way down towards the heavy braking zone? Matt Tibos on the softer tyres. Camke breaks a bit later than Matt Tibos, but they're still both side by side. They've managed to keep it on the road with each other. Very good battling between the pair of them, and Matt Tibos gets the move done up into 7th position, up ahead of Camke, and able to hold on ahead of the American. Now 1.8 seconds behind Jay Hings. Needs to get this move done quick time, needs to catch up. It's one thing to catch up, it's another thing to try and pass, as the great Murray Walker once said. It's White White now gets the move done on Heppner Boy. In fact, White White into the pits. So this strategy of him pitting early has not worked out whatsoever. He's now going to be losing out a significant amount of positions. As I say that, though, Jordan also into the pits. White's chucked on a fresh set of softs. He's down in 10th, and Farrell's in the lead. If it finishes the way that it is currently, White is going to lose that championship lead, and it will go back to Farrell for the championship lead with 2 races left to go. Mr. Wilder is going to try and swoop it around the outside of White as he comes out of the pits. Mr. Wilder will have the better traction. He's now down to 11th position. He's got 9.5 seconds to make up on Conor O'Keefe to make sure that Farrell is not the one that's in the lead of this championship. He needs to stay in. He needs to get 9th place for Farrell. And if Farrell wins this race, it means that White will then go back into the lead of this championship. If Farrell doesn't win this race, White will still remain in the lead of the championship with the final 2 rounds left to go. But if it finishes, as I say, if White doesn't catch up in that time, he won't be in the lead of the championship anymore. And if Farrell does win this race, at the moment, it's looking very likely that Farrell is going to win this race, especially considering his closest rival, Crack, right behind him, has a 3-second time penalty. But Crack is on a tear. He is so much faster. I don't know what is going on with Crack this evening, but he is so much faster than anybody else out on track at the moment. As Matt Tibos gets a move done on Jay Hings now, up to 5th position, and now all over the back of MCR. So yeah, MCR is going to be seeing those soft tyres behind them. And probably, well, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything about it. I think Matt Tibos, he's just going to cruise up on behind him, use a bit of his DRS, say sayonara to the Spaniard, and that's now him up into 4th position. Matt Tibos, he's on the verge of a podium, but he's got 4.5 seconds of Heppner Boy up in front of him. And you've got to remember, those softs, they'll probably go off in the next 3 laps. So they're going to become a bit more equal to those guys that are on the set of the hards, and maybe the guys that are on, like Jay Hings, on the 7-lap-old mediums at this moment. They'll become a bit more equal to that. But for now, Matt Tibos is just loving life on those softs and just doing whatever he can to move his way on forward. As now looking at it, we're going to see a battle go down here for the lead of this race. Crack is using whatever he can to go on for a move on Farrell. He dives it down the inside of the Irishman. Don't think he was wanting to do that, but he ended up doing it anyway. Farrell read that happening. Crack is now in the lead of this race with that 3-second time penalty, but Farrell going to do whatever he can to sit behind Crack for now. Just keep in his DRS, keep within the 3 seconds of him. If he doesn't keep within the 3 seconds, Farrell does not gain this championship lead. White has gotten past Mr. Valter, and he's now 6 seconds behind Ryan B. Again, to be fair, he's only 4 and a bit seconds behind Jay Hings. He needs to get within the 3 seconds of Jay Hings and Conor O'Keefe, mainly Jay Hings, so that he can finish in the top 9 and keep that championship lead. 7 more laps left to go. And Cracker's doing everything he can to try and shake off Farrell, but to no avail at the moment. Farrell is doing a good job of being able to hold on ahead of Crack. As YHY setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Now down to 4.5 seconds behind Ryan B. He is tearing it up on the track at the moment. Cam K all over the back of Conor O'Keefe. Of course, Conor O'Keefe has that 3-second time penalty. These two have been battling it out since the start of this race. Both starting on a set of the hards, both now on a set of the mediums. Conor O'Keefe on a 1 lap fresher medium tyres, but again, 3-second time penalty is going to put him at a bit more of a disadvantage in comparison to the American behind him. However, he's managing to hold on the DRS ahead of ahead of MCR. As MCR, no DRS for him at all, just missing out ahead of Matt Tibos. So Conor O'Keefe, DRS now wide open. He's using the ERS as well. I think he wants to go for this move on MCR before it gets a bit too late. He goes to the move. He gets it done on MCR. He's now put a car between him and Cam. That is crucial for him. And now, are we going to see Cam maybe try and sneak one up on MCR as soon as possible to stay within 1 second of Conor O'Keefe? If he loses that DRS, then Cam may not be able to keep up with Conor O'Keefe. It just looks like Conor O'Keefe is a lot more comfortable on these mediums in comparison to the American out in front of him, his home circuit. But Farrell not being dropped whatsoever by Crack. He's managing to hold on to DRS just about, and on those straights he's going to be able to at least utilise that extra bit of speed so he can keep within that 1 second of Crack. And of course Crack with no ERS as well for him, and with Farrell keeping a bit of his ERS, he's able to hold on and just sit behind the Williams for now. And maybe again, he doesn't even need to pounce on him. He can just sit behind him for now. Wido now 2.1 seconds behind Ryan B, 3.9 behind Jay Hings. Only 9 attempts he needs, and he'll go back into the championship lead by 1 point if it finishes that way. If he does get within another 8 tenths of a second, 7 tenths of a second now. Again, that gap is just coming down more and more and more. It's 3.3, 3.2. Yeah, I think YHY is going to be able to hold on to the lead of this championship, despite Farrell doing everything in his power to, catch up as much as possible. We couldn't do it in the sprint, but in this feature race, it's looking very likely that the Irishman, unless he picks up a penalty, it's looking very likely that the Irishman is going to be winning in this race. As Cam got the move done on MCR in the end, down on that DRS straight, but look at the time gap that he's now got to Conor O'Keefe. It's 2 seconds separating Cam and Conor. And Matt Tibos, I think his tyres have started to go off of that extra bit more now. They're both on the same lap set of tyres of both Matt Tibos and Conor O'Keefe, but Conor O'Keefe has caught up to Matt Tibos, and Matt Tibos, he's now not starting to gain as much on Hepulaboy. In fact, starting to lose out a little bit of extra time as Ryan B in the Mercedes picking up 3-second time penalty for his troubles. But yeah, Matt Tibos is now not gaining on Hepulaboy. Conor O'Keefe is gaining on Matt Tibos, and I feel like we may see Conor O'Keefe on that next DRS straight, if he can get close enough, go for a move for P4. And in fact, this is actually probably the battle for P3, because they are starting to catch up to Hepulaboy. Matt Tibos has managed to find, I think, a little bit of extra second wind in those tyres, because he just gained another 5 tenths on the Aston Martin out in front of him. But yeah, Hepulaboy, I think, could become a little bit of a sitting duck very soon from those two behind him. Of course, though, Conor O'Keefe with that 3-second time penalty. If Conor gets past Matt Tibos and gets past Hepulaboy, he needs to try and pull a 3-second gap out in front. Speaking of, Farrell has lost DRS to Crack, so Crack is now 1.5 seconds out in front of Farrell, and Crack is now doing everything that he can in his power to finish, or well, to take the win for this evening. But is he going to be able to do it, or is he not going to be able to do it? We'll find out in about 4 laps time. 1.6 seconds is the gap now between Crack and Farrell. Farrell may need to start using a bit of that ERS he saved up, despite only being 20%. Any bit of that will help. Conor O'Keefe, by the way, got the move done on Matt Tibos in the end. He's now up into 4th. Matt Tibos now down to the 5th. And he's now within the DRS of Hepula Boy, despite making that move on Matt Tibos. As I say that though, I don't think he managed to get the DRS. No, in fact he did. Only just by the skin of his teeth, he's managed to get himself within the DRS of Hepula Boy. And Matt Tibos still also holding on to the back of Connor O'Keefe. Farrell still not losing that much time though. Still 1.4 seconds behind Crack. And Crack is just playing this a bit extra cautiously now. He doesn't want to pick up another time penalty. Because if he does, he knows that his chances of a win are definitely gone by then. He's still within a shot of it. And same with Farrell. Both of those guys are still within a shot of a win this evening. But yeah, it's whether they're going to be able to hold on without picking up any other penalties or not. White Chawai, by the way, has gotten past Ryan B, has gotten past Jay Hings. Now up into 8th position. Will hold on to the championship lead. Even if Farrell does win it this evening, it will be a 2-point deficit in comparison to what it would have been beforehand. There's yellow flags in Sector 2. That is off Ryan B as Connor O'Keefe gets the move done on Hepula Boy now. And the Ferrari is now up into 3rd position, up ahead of Hepula Boy with that 3-second time penalty. As I say, he needs to now try and run away as quick as possible if he wants a chance of finishing on the podium this evening. It'd be quite interesting if on the podium 2 of those guys would have had a 3-second time penalty. Might be an LOE first if that is the case. Obviously, other than if everybody on the podium had 3 seconds or everybody in the lobby had 3-second penalties. As for the final points position, Mr. Walter getting overtaken by Mats for 12th position. Mats, again, picking up an impressive podium at Qatar, has just not been able to replicate it in these past 2 races. DNF'd at both of them in Bahrain and at Canada. But now coming into towards Kota, he's looking like he might be able to pick up a point, well, 2 points now as Ryan B's come into the pits. After having that spin out of the exit of the uphill section. Farrell is now starting to gain back on Crack, interestingly enough. I don't know how he's managed that, but yeah, he's now gaining on Crack that bit extra more. Jay Hings picks up a 3-second time penalty. Mr. Walter picked up another 3-second time penalty as well. I did clock that. So Mr. Walter, I think, is solidified for P12 unless Ryan B can catch up within, 12 seconds within the next 3 laps. Would be impressive. But yeah, I don't think Connor O'Keefe is going to be able to get 3 seconds on Hepula Boy and Matt Tibos. So it is a battle for 3rd between Hepula Boy and Matt Tibos. I think Connor O'Keefe is just going to have to settle for P5. So he's managing to stay that 3 seconds up ahead of Kankay, but I don't think he's going to have enough to get ahead of Hepula Boy and Matt Tibos, unfortunately, for himself. Farrell almost pushing himself into the DRS of Crack, of course now onto the penultimate lap of this race. Cam now holding off MCR and our championship leader of White Chawai. White Chawai's tyres may start to be degrading a little bit more now, but at the same time, those softs have paid off so well for him. He's now battling for a P6. If he can finish 6th position, I'd say that's been starting 6th, finishing 6th would not be so bad for White Chawai whatsoever. Despite even if Farrell does win this evening, I still don't think that's a bad position at all. To still be in the lead of the championship, maybe by only a couple of points, but he'll still be in the lead of the championship. As Cam making a little bit of a mistake going up the hill. Meant that MCR was looking to see if he can go for a move, but not going to be able to do so. Now, White Chawai seeing if he can maybe go for any sort of move on MCR. White Chawai, Kankay, for some reason, absolutely jerks it off to the left-hand side. Tries to go defensive on MCR. Little bit of wheel bang going on between the pair of them. Don't think MCR's too happy about that one. White Chawai seeing if he can go for a move on MCR now as well. I don't think he's going to be able to. White Chawai dives it down the inside of MCR. MCR probably not expecting that dive from the championship leader, but manages to leave him space and hold on ahead of the fin in front of him. We're now making our way onto the final lap of this race, and we're going to see a lead change go down. Farrell going to get the move done on Crack, and Crack has left the session. He's lagged out of the session. Are we going to see Head Pillar Boy maybe make up that gain onto Crack as well? Conor O'Keefe could also do the same thing. I know we could see Head Pillar Boy and Matt Tibos finish on the podium after all of that, and Crack doing so well. He needs to get himself back in the session ASAP to have a chance of the podium, and he's back in the session. He just needs to get back in his car as soon as it lets him. He just needs to do that, but I think I don't know, I don't know if he's going to be able to get onto that podium still. They are catching him at a rate of knots. Farrell is definitely going to be the winner of this race. Crack, I think he's just about gotten himself back into the car now and onto this DRS straight. Yeah, he's back in the car. He's using that overtake. So yeah, Crack has just gotten himself into the car. He's 3.4 seconds up ahead of Het Pillar Boy. So he's just about, I think, held on. 3.2, 3.1. It's so close between Crack and Het Pillar Boy for that final podium position. I think it is. I think Matt Tibos isn't going to be able to, jump up ahead of Conor O'Keefe, but Het Pillar Boy is going to be the final podium sitter. From what it looks like anyway, 3.4 seconds separates them. But Farrell, take a bow, my friend. You have it's been a very commanding drive in this feature race. It started off very well for you. It's finished off very well for you. You'll come across the line to take the win this evening of round number 16 around the circuit of the Americas. Crack will finish in second on track, but he does finish second in the end, so he does take second. Het Pillar Boy will take third. Conor O'Keefe, by 0.06 of a second, finishes in fourth, ahead of Matt Tibos in fifth. Cam K finishes in sixth, with White White in seventh. Didn't manage to get the American in the air, but still seventh place after all of that. Not too bad whatsoever. I think just a strategy blunder for White White. MCR in 8th, Jay Hings in 9th, Jordan in 10th, Matt's in 11th. Mr. Valter will finish in 12th. And Ryan B will take the final position. Mr. Valter taking the final points position. But first, from 7th, is a 19-point gap. So 3-point difference separates White and Farrell in these final two races, which is going to be very interesting to see go down. Is it going to be Farrell that takes it? Is it going to be White that takes it? Again, you just have to find out in these last two races. From the looks of things, I think the McLarens have now actually also just picked the championship. So congrats to them. For, of course, White and Matt Tibos taking 5th and 7th. Alpines, I think, needed to try and win the race as much as possible, but I don't think they would have been able to. And there only being one, it really was it was a tall order for Cam K. So yeah, McLarens have won the constructors, so that's the main thing for them guys. Probably more so for Matt Tibos and White because White is of course battling for this championship. But there's your final order for this evening. As I say, Farrell taking the win, Crack in second after disconnecting a very close moment to the point where he could have lost out on the podium from Het Pillar Boy, as he does take third position. Very well done from him. Conor O'Keefe in fourth. Matt Tibos is in fifth. Cam K in sixth, with White in seventh. Again, probably a disappointing race for him. MCR in 8th, with Jay Hings in 9th, and Jordan riding out the top 10. Matt's in 11th, and Mr. Valter taking the final points position this evening. Ryan B taking the fastest lap in the end as a consolation prize. And again, unfortunately, our only DNFer in the feature race being Lars Nogwat. And yeah, again, despite there only being 14 drivers, I still think that was a very entertaining race and thoroughly enjoyed that one. So yeah, that's me done for the season. I'm not here for the final two races, unfortunately. So thank you to everybody that has tuned in throughout the entire season that I've been doing commentary for. I don't know if I want to announce that now. I probably will, actually, because it's final commentary. Why not? Next season, I won't be organizer at all for LOE. It's been in since season 1. Have thoroughly enjoyed it. I think now, though, it's gotten to the point where it's just too much hard work, and just sort of losing the love for it, if that makes sense. So I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, good luck to all of the organiser team going forward in the next season. I'll still race in the League of Europe, but yeah, I think my time as an organiser for LOE is done. So I appreciate everybody that has sort of stuck by through the league over the past over the past 10 seasons. Um, everybody that's just been supportive. Guys like Mark, Gary, Verstappen, Larkin, Dan, um, RJ, even V5. Probably a name I shouldn't be mentioning, but yeah, everybody that has been an organizer, I do appreciate it so much, and uh, yeah, I think, as I say, I think now is probably just the best time for me to say it's done for me, essentially. So yeah, as I say, that's also commentary for me done. I might be doing comms next season. I don't know, but I'll make that decision when it comes to it. But thank you to everybody that has tuned in. As I say, I do appreciate it every single week. And yeah, I do love doing commentary. It is always very fun to do. So, and especially around Division 3, it does always bring some very good chaos, especially this season, and also the Championship fight still very, very intense. So thanks to everybody that has tuned in. Division 2, as you can see from the invite from Larkin, is going to be going down in about 15 minutes time, and Division 4 as well. Division 2 being covered by NSX Montana, and Division 4 being covered by QBR Verstappen, so you do not want to be missing out on those. And then next week, as I say, we're at round number 17 at Las Vegas, Division 1 being covered by QBR Killer, and maybe James Head. I'm not sure. It was covered by James Head this evening. I'm not sure where Ken Worthy's gone, but we covered by at least QBR Killer. And Division 3, hopefully next week, I think, should be covered by RJ. If not, then it will be somebody else in the comms box for next week as well. So, yeah. Thank you to everybody that has tuned in this season. I appreciate it so much. And we'll catch you guys next week for round number 17 around the Las Vegas Sea Circuit.